So thanks so much, George, joining us today. Welcome to LB of Fireside Chat. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to engage you, and thanks once again. And I know that after hard partying last night, I believe you are ready for the day.
I am. In fact, we started an hour and a half back. So,
Wow. Okay. Because you're still very young. You're only 35 years old.
That's
so,
not what you said sometime back. But anyway, I will not hold you against that.
So welcome to LPO Fireside Chat. We have this wonderful opportunity of having Mr. Joseph George. Friends call him Joe. He is regional president, regional chief of this multinational global communication giant MullenLowe. And Joe got a very lengthy and a very impressive designation. Regional President, South Asia and Southeast Asia, and Group Chairman and CEO, MullenLowe Lintas Group. I believe that reflects the kind of burden you carry and responsibilities.
No, so I've pretty much enjoyed my entire stint, and I continue to enjoy. The Southeast Asia remit was something that was given to me last year, Jan. So I finished exactly 1 year of looking after Southeast Asia.
When you say Southeast Asia, what are the countries that come under?
So we're looking at Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore. So we've got 6 countries.
The whole of South Asia.
All of Southeast Asia.
I believe Mullen is primarily a US-based company.
That's correct.
And Lowe is based in London. So I believe that coming together is bringing certain synergies.
Right.
And if I'm right, okay, this is not the first attempt. There was a previously Amirati Puris Lintas.
That's right.
And that marriage didn't last long. Am I right?
Yeah.
So this time around, you think that you will build synergy?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the need for the union is quite clear. The intent genuinely was to build a strong global brand. And therefore IPG in its wisdom believed that Mullen being a very strong agency in the US and Lowe being pretty strong in Asia and Europe together would really then create a strong global brand. That's one. 2, it's also for the first time we have the Mullen CEO actually looking after the combined entity. So therefore now for the first time this agency is in a way headquartered out of the US now because our global CEO, Alex Lakey, he operates out of Boston and New York. So now like our holding company, this agency network also now is
aligned to
is a US network.
That's
so
interesting.
to speak, yeah.
But I just want to ask, discuss with you the challenges of merging ad agencies.
Yeah.
Because ad agencies tend to have their own unique culture.
Yeah.
And when these cultures generally come together, there's so much of friction.
Yeah.
And that sometimes could kill that or rather destroy the synergy you are expecting.
Yeah.
But strangely, correct me if I'm wrong, ad agency mergers last. I mean, the durability of ad agency mergers quite lengthy, long. Am I right?
Right. That's correct. That's correct. No, I think you make a very good point, and that's something that IPG, Mullen, and Lowe were acutely aware of going into this union, and I think both agencies have gone out of their way, and I would give a lot of credit to Alex actually to try and ensure that the synergies were actually evident within the network and for the clients. We've had a lot of sessions with senior leadership both from Lowe and Mullen in the initial few months to understand exactly why have we come together, because once you are aligned on what is the vision and what is the purpose of this merger, then things become a lot easier. I think normally relationships like this don't work because you are either not clear or you don't articulate what is this being done for. So I think that was done quite beautifully and quite seamlessly, I must say. So in the space of 18 months, I must say this union looks a lot older than 18 months.
So you mentioned about, okay, obviously, one strategic objective is to build a global brand.
That's
I
right.
believe in terms of territories you operate, the two companies used to operate, they are complementary.
That's right.
Apart from that, you mentioned about there are certain synergies already evident.
Yeah.
Could you share with us, okay, has it changed the way that you look at the market,
Yeah.
you handle the brands, your client relationships,
Yes.
business processes, and also fundamentally your philosophy?
That's right. No, so I think the most evident fallout of this union is what we call the way we approach clients and their business through what we internally call hyper bundling, because it is getting clearer with every passing day or week or month that it's now silly to look at challenges in the market from the lens of individual channels, but it needs to be seen through the lens of a brand. And therefore, at times, you will have to go and tell the client that, listen, as opposed to saying, I've got a digital solution, or I've got a PR solution, or I've got a, I don't know, an activation solution. If you see it from the brand's lens, and then you recommend to the client, saying, listen, from the brand, this is what needs to be done, then it's seeming to work for clients, as opposed to going with individual channel strategies. So this does two things for us actually. Number one, we are involved at a much more larger landscape. Two, there is also synergy in the way we keep the brand values similar across every touch point. And what I'm realizing as I speak to people from across the network is, I think clients are getting increasingly frustrated about having to deal with too many specialists. And there are two reasons. One is, see, generally the marketing teams across the world are getting smaller and smaller, which then means it puts a lot of pressure on marketing people in the client's end to have to deal with 5, 10, 15 partners. So that itself is tough. And then when each of these partners come with varying degrees of either competency or interest when it comes to brand, category, consumer, it can get quite frustrating. So in a way, clients are almost willing the creative agency, saying, you know, guys, why don't you just do everything for us, because the brand custodianship is with the creative agency. So that's an interesting aspect of this union, because Mullen has been practicing that. So they have their own PR agency within the agency, a media agency within the agency, digital within the agency, and thankfully that's something that the rest of the network now have imbibed. And
So what you say that, okay, the industry has gone through a full cycle.
it has, you're right.
Because there's a fragmentation of services we have seen
That's
last 20 years.
Yeah.
And I think it was a big challenge, because as you said, there was a time that, correct me if I'm wrong, who the real custodian of the brand?
Exactly.
Because you had digital agency, your creative agency, media agency, activation agency, outdoor agency, I don't know what else.
Yeah.
So
No, you're absolutely spot
right.
on. And that is what has happened. So I think it has run its course. And I must say, just like how clients were the ones who, in a way, drove the disaggregation, I'm pleased to say that they are the ones who are actually now driving subtly the aggregation. Because they're finding the custodianship splintered across too many partners, and they genuinely don't have the personnel to have to deal with so many people, which is great actually, because it's great from a brand point of view, it's great from a client point of view, and it's great from a creative agency point of view.
You made a very interesting observation that the marketing teams are gradually shrinking.
Yeah.
And as a result, the creative agencies are taking over most of the brand building responsibilities. That is a trend you see.
That's true. Again, of course, it differs from clients to clients.
Right.
But certainly, clients are leaning a lot more on their creative agencies to partner them on marketing decisions.
Another observation I would like to seek your comments on. Say that when we were young brand managers, generally you had this cozy relationship with your agency, and
Yeah.
it's a very intimate relationship. And
Yeah.
account executive kind of own the brand.
Absolutely.
And actually, as a result, I got married to my account executive.
Oh.
That's a different story.
Okay. Clearly taking a leaf from Terry and Lilamani.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
Gera
realize
Beauty.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but what we saw is that
Yeah.
some kind of a strain
A very
between
close, intimate
that
relationship.
and that started, that relationship started drifting apart,
yeah,
and
yeah.
now you think it's coming back.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Before we come to Sri Lanka, let me ask quite an unusual question. If you take what is happening in the globally, there is a resurgence of nationalism, populism. So, what is the impact of that on international brands?
Okay. So I think 2-3 possible implications. One is one may find a lot of strong local stroke national brands emerging. And therefore that of course comes with a huge opportunity for many countries to build their own strong national brands. But what is also simultaneously happening, and these things are never binary. The world is also becoming similar in a lot of ways, globalization, etc., etc. So if you see most of the really popular and robust global brands, they in a way appeal to most people across the world because they try and leverage simple insights which are universally felt. So you are actually seeing a beautiful scenario where there is an opportunity for local national brands to become larger than they were, but you also see the role for global brands to play that role.
So I think there will be kind of the global brands go through cycles. Sometimes they are highly globalized, international. Then they start focusing on individual territories.
Exactly.
So what is happening now? You have kind of a tension between these two forces.
I
or
don't think
no?
so. I don't think so. I think we are in a lucky place where we will see both coexisting. And I must say that a lot of national brands will take cues and learnings from how global brands have built themselves.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I think the consumer benefits because now he's got or she's got a better choice or wider choice of accessing brands which are either national or global brands.
So let me come back to these from the global perspective to more regional. This century is supposed to be the century of Asia, and I'm sure that you're excited about it. And the global economy's center of gravity is moving towards us if it hasn't already moved.
That's right.
And I think that what are the opportunities, prospects you see this part of the world, particularly your region?
No, I think great prospects because all the countries or most of the countries in this part of the region are showing healthy GDP growth. I think consumers are wanting to live better. They want to experiment with more brands, new brands, better brands, and therefore I think it's a combination of economies doing well, people getting more disposable income, and brands therefore playing a role in actually fulfilling those desires and interests. So most categories are still hugely underpenetrated, and therefore that gives us an option of an opportunity of getting more people into categories, and in some cases also to get consumers to upgrade.
So relating to what you mentioned earlier, so you expect kind of proliferation of multiple brands in the region next 20 years?
Absolutely, and which is why, like I was mentioning to somebody else, I think every category, the number of brands that are available is about 20x if you compare the last 10 years, which therefore means the only way brands can survive is if they were to differentiate themselves with other options.
Right.
And who better to differentiate than agencies So which is why I keep telling people that, listen, creative agencies are here to stay. As long as there are brands in this world, creative agencies will stay. And more the brands, the merrier, because the need to differentiate becomes even more compelling.
But at the same time, the challenge is also, I think, insurmountable right now, because the differentiation is increasingly difficult to achieve. Right?
That's correct. That's correct. So I think at a functional level, it's probably getting a bit difficult to differentiate, and which is why, if you notice, this entire area of brand purpose and brand point of view are now slowly becoming serious issues that clients and marketers are thinking about, because they have now clearly come to the conclusion that consumers don't just buy brands, but they buy into brands. And for people to buy into brands, brands need to stand for something a little more substantive than it washes better, or it smells great, or it tastes. I mean, beyond the functional deliveries, I think consumers are also seeking a little more meaning from brands. So that's the other area where brands can differentiate themselves beyond the functional attributes.
I want to seek your views on this. So we had this 100-year-old mass marketing model.
Right.
So there was this belief that consumers have a sequential, linear process of brand discovery to the purchase, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I believe now that model is crumbling.
That's right.
Now, if you take traditional agency business, which was built upon that mass marketing model, if that model is crumbling, so would the agency business be?
Yeah. Okay. No, so that's an interesting, provocative question, but I have an answer for that. No, I think two things. See, as long as brands need to be created. So let alone the model of brand creation. If the need is there to create brands, you will need creative agencies. That's not going anywhere. Now, is the journey that the consumer is taking different? Yes, it is. But is he still looking for persuasion from the brand? He is. Is he seeking affinity? Is he seeking respect? Is he seeing clients? This brand understands me. This brand wants to understand me. All those basics are not going away in a hurry. So as long as what consumers seek from brands don't change fundamentally, I think brand creation and brand creation experts, they will continue to sort of have a role.
Yeah, my challenge to you is, if I extend that question further, you mentioned about the brand touch point. So what we see is that there's no one dominant touch point any longer. Am I right?
That's right.
Because the touch points are so fragmented now.
Exactly.
So in an environment like that, so how do you create kind of omni-platform experience?
No, you're right.
So what is the role of the creative agency?
No, which is why I spoke about hyper-bundling. Now, hyper-bundling exactly is a response to your absolutely correct observation, because we genuinely don't believe that consumers seek it sequentially. We'll say, listen, from the brand point of view, what all needs to be done. And once you shift your lens from a channel to a brand, then all this pretty much falls in place. So which is why it's incumbent on creative agencies to ensure that they see everything from the holistic lens of the brand. And therefore then it will come naturally to them to, I may well tomorrow go and tell a client that, listen, you know what, I suggest you don't do advertising here. You do only PR, or you do only design. Like I was telling Vati some time back, PR and design are emerging to be two really interesting aspects in today's time and age. I think more and more clients are realizing that PR is a lot more cost-effective way to build awareness, to build engagement, to build conversations. So it's happening faster and cheaper than actually spending big bucks behind traditional advertising. That's one. The second interesting part is on design. Now, many times clients and marketers had to wait for a longish period of time to be convinced that now the brand is ready to extract a premium or to increase prices. But I think what design is doing quite beautifully is that it is, you can create premium imagery through great design, and you don't have to wait for that life cycle
Right.
till you are convinced that the brand is now price inelastic for us to charge a premium. Design helps you do that earlier. So these are various interesting aspects that have
It's very interesting. The conversation would have been totally different if you had this conversation 20 years ago.
absolutely.
I wouldn't have expected a creative agency boss to talk about design.
Yeah. No, even digital. I mean,
Yeah.
we keep talking digital, and I keep telling people, you have to make a difference between, digital marketing versus marketing for a digitized world, and they're very different. If you look at it in the former way, then you're going back to seeing the lens from a channel.
Silotic,
Exactly.
yeah.
And so our attempt across the network is to actually mainline digital, and like I keep talking about how advertising agencies have emerged over time. If you see many decades back, most agencies would only do print, radio, and billboards. Yeah, and suddenly films came into their lives, and they were all wondering, oh God, I'm under-equipped to manage that. So all agencies started what they launched a films department or a films division, and they saw that as a specialist
Another
division.
channel.
Exactly. And the agencies that brought the films department bang in the middle of the creative agency are the ones who survived. The ones who would continue to treat the films department as a specialized function are the ones who perished. It's the same thing that's happening with digital.
Right.
The longer you treat it as a specialized function, the faster you will hasten the death of the creative agency.
Yeah.
And the
Haven't you? Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Please.
And I see this happening even with content. I can guarantee you in 2 to 3 years we'll have a similar conversation on content,
Right.
like the
Right.
conversation we're having on digital.
Right.
You have to get content into the center of the creative agency. You have to get digital in the center of the creative agency.
So you think that that the core function has, or rather focus has moved away from content to channel? That's what happened?
That's right.
You have to build back the content and put the
That-
content in the center.
that
and,
is correct.
And that build your experience based on the content.
That is absolutely right.
Okay.
That is
That's a very interesting view.
Yeah.
Don't you think when it comes to traditional advertising industry business,
Yeah.
the industry was little too late, or rather it took longer time to get adjusted? Or some of the agencies are still struggling, if I'm right.
No, most agencies are struggling, I must say, and most marketers are struggling as well. I think there were too many words and less action. So most marketers and agencies kept saying the right stuff, but I don't think they practiced anything. And I think collectively we lost about 5 years as a agency community and actually a marketing community. So I don't know whether I'm being harsh on both these communities,
Right.
but the fact is that I think everybody spoke for too long before putting something into action.
I don't know whether this perhaps quite relevant to South Asia or this part of the world. See that we lack respect to young people. Take for example, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, even China. What is the average age of a politician? So they are over 60. Okay. So don't you think that similar thing is happening in the corporate world? Because if you are a CEO or a marketing director who is 50 years old, 55 years old, you may think, why should I worry about digital, because I am going to retire in another 5 years. But the same guys don't give that opportunity to the digitally savvy folks who are in their late 20s and 30s. Is that a barrier to adoption of digital?
No, it is a barrier, and I think that was the principal reason why marketers and agencies, more so marketers, actually took longer to embrace digital in its truest form, because what they did was they assigned some really young brand managers to say, okay, digital, right? Okay, let me call some 23, 24-year-olds, please manage this.
Okay.
So they, in a way, abdicated the responsibility of actually digitizing themselves in mindset, and then percolate that down the company. They initially saw this as something that some young brand members can play with while life continued as usual. But companies and agencies that understood this at the senior most level and started practicing that at the senior most levels are the ones who succeeded. So you're absolutely right. I think for too long, and which is why I said I think we lost a good 5 to 6 years, because many marketing heads and agency heads just gave this off as a toy to the young brand managers to play with. Okay, here is a few million rupees or few $1,000. Go and do something on social, or go and do something on search, or go and do something on
So to what extent you think this multi-platform or omni-platform vision for a brand is being adopted this part of the world? You think we have a long way to go, or we are already there, or
no? I think
getting closer?
I think the need exists.
It's felt. Need is felt.
Need is felt. But the challenge is, and this is where the irony is, you cannot offer a strong horizontal solution if you don't have strong verticals. That's the irony. Yeah. So if I'm providing you a strong horizontal solution, you will say, but hey, what do you know about PR to give me a solution on PR?
Right.
So you have to simultaneously build two things. You have to build vertical expertise, but you also need a culture and the talent in the company who can actually bring this together, who can then provide a horizontal solution. So you need both.
Right. It's very interesting.
You need strong verticals to be in a position to credibly offer a strong horizontal.
So let's come to Sri Lankan operation. I think Sri Lanka is in a very, very challenging position, if you, both from politically and economically. When there's a lack of optimism, lack of enthusiasm about the immediate future, people and industry is going to is the first industry going to get affected. Right? Particularly when the interest rate is edging up, only way you can save your margin short term is cut the advertising budget, because that is the easiest thing to do. In a situation like this, okay, how are you going to extract growth from the market?
So the way I see this is slightly different, and this was quite evident in our conversations with clients that I have been having here in the past 1 year. I think in tough times, they're actually leaning to the agencies even more. So yesterday, again, I was having conversation with 2-3 of them, and all of them saying, you know what, let's engage more. I need more help in this. And this is not just advertising solutions that they are wanting. They want us to engage with them on brand, on marketing, on business. So I think that the more challenging the times are, somewhere somebody needs to put their hand up and say, you know what, I want to partner you. Obviously, you will need the skill set and the competencies to be able to partner somebody. So that's something that internally we are quite clear that we need to build, because I cannot and should not offer help if I don't have the competency to do that. So different times have different challenges. When the market is booming, when the economy is booming, etc., etc., I think what they seek from agencies is different. When it is not, what they seek from agencies is different. And I think we just need to be alive to what our clients seeking in this sentiment and in this mood. And I believe it's incumbent on us to then gear accordingly.
See, if you take MullenLowe, that's not something folks over here are familiar with. And you kind of jettison Lintas' name, whereas in India you retain Lintas. Am I right? It's a part of the. So I believe that you need to some extent build the brand here now.
Yes.
So what do you think as the 3 most challenges for your agency this year in Sri Lanka?
Okay. So if I were to the top 3, I think one is we need to scale up. I believe that the equity that this brand has in the market is a lot larger than the actual scale of the operation. and we are in a good position that way, because most agencies and clients actually, or brands, they're trying to build equity. We already have the equity. We just need to build scale to be in line with our equity. So I think we want to get a bit aggressive about scaling up. That's one. Two, I think what we want to continue to be known for is our creative culture and our creative product. Like I keep telling all my people, our only transactable ware is our creative product, and that has to drive everything that we do internally. And going back to, I think, one of your earlier points in terms of saying when the sentiment is down, etc., what role can agencies play? Now, one of the things that this agency has been very good at over the past decade or so is we are great in delivering effective work. So at the annual FEs, we've been number 1 or number 2 for the last 10 years now, and that's something that we want to proudly consider at the core of the agency.
So you see a more breadth in the portfolio coming years?
More breadth in the portfolio without losing out the fact that we are here in the business to provide effective work.
And build in your verticals.
Absolutely.
Okay. I believe you got a wonderful team over here.
Yes.
And I wish I can continue talking to you. But unfortunately, Bharti warned me that there's no lunch available for me. So I have to wind up. I know that you have a very busy day ahead of you.
But
it is great talking to you.
Thank you so much.
And all the best and good luck. We hope to see you more often in
Yes,
Colombo.
in fact, next quarter I'll be here again.
So thanks once again, and
Thanks
all
again.
the very best to MullenLowe,
Sri Lanka. Yes.
Okay, thank
Thanks
you.
so much. Thank you.